Good evening. Welcome to Mayor Muriel Bowser's Year 2 Transition Plan Accountability Report Update. Tonight, you will hear from Bowser administration representatives, district residents, and others about how the priorities in the mayor's transition plan are being implemented across all 8 wards. First, we'll hear from the district's Chief Financial Officer, Jeff DeWitt, on our economic outlook.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mayor Bowser, for having me today. I told my staff this morning I had 3 minutes to give an outlook of the District of Columbia, economic outlook, and my staff said we need 10 minutes for the disclaimers of why we might be wrong. So I've already wasted 20 seconds on that, so I'll get to the state of the economy. Over the weekend, I was reviewing the district's financial statements, which we'll be releasing later. And if you remember, about a couple weeks ago, we released the December revenue forecast. And things are quite incredible. Our district finances are in great shape and the economy is doing very well. Just to give you some perspective, you can go to the next slide, please. The DC's population has reached 681,000 people, I think in money, of course, in 2016, which is almost a 10% growth over the last 5 years. Wages and salary employment is up. Almost 14,000, 15,000 November from a year earlier. DC residents are working, grew by 2.2% November to November. We're now at 371,000 employees working in the district. If you look at the graphs below, you'll see that the unemployment rate, the line on the right, has went down from 10.5% in 2011 all the way down to 6% in November of this year. So unemployment is dropping. Employment's going up, and population, which really drives our economy, is continuing to grow strongly as you keep hearing almost 1,000 residents a month moving into the district. So that is good news. Next slide, please. If we continue along the story here, you look at wages are growing too. So not only is our population growing, unemployment going down, employment going up, our DC residents are earning more money, and our real estate is doing very, very well and very strong. If you look at the quarter that just ended, DC wages grew 4.8%, but what's remarkable, 70% of that growth is from the private sector. And they grew 5.8%, or $2.5 billion. So we might still be a government town, but we're a roaring private sector town too, so it's going very well there. Single-family home sales are doing great. They were up 10.4% over last year. Condominium sales grew 3.5%. The value of our residential real estate grew 11.7% October to October. That's an incredibly hot real estate market. It's easy being the CFO here. The news is so great here going on. New housing permits topped 5,000 in 2016. If you look at the yellow bar chart below, you'll see that we're at some of the highest permits we've had in many, many years. So there's lots of people building new homes, building condos and things like that are just kind of hopping along. Commercial market is good too. The rents were up 3.5% September to September. And hotel revenues, we have the Chinese of the mayor. I went with the mayor about a year ago to visit China. We have the Chinese tourism market. A lot of people come here not just for the monuments anymore. They come here for the great restaurants, the great food, the great entertainment that we have here. Hotel revenues were up 11.7% for the same period of 2015. So the economy is really, really going well. So as a CFO, what the heck is the future going to look like? Well, I put one slide because I'm trying to do this quickly about where the district is going. The good news is we have a strong district government. Our finances here are good. Our economy is good. One can kind of pull one the other way. They're both going very well. So we have an increasingly diverse economy. As I said a minute ago, 70% of the wage growth came from the private sector last year. And it's supported by the strong financial position of the district, which you'll see information on that at the end of this month as we release our annual financial statements. We believe that's going to drive the economy into the future. That outlook is based on continuing the current economy and the forward momentum that we have. We expect moderate growth in jobs to continue, more population, people continue to want to move here, and housing units. That's going to increase home sales and higher home prices, which is going to drive, obviously, property taxes. Wage and job growth will continue as the population comes along. We expect the unemployment rate to continue to drop and wage and employment to continue to go up. And some things, if you notice, if you bought something at Christmas from Amazon a year ago, you didn't pay sales taxes on it, you did this year. I'm sorry, I'm not really. So you see Airbnb, if you have friends that visit Airbnb, they pay us taxes now. So you're seeing a rise in e-commerce that we're able to bring in revenues to the city, and those e-commerce is booming, as we all know. And so our sales taxes are continuing to go strong. So good population growth, wage growth, employment growth, sales tax growth. It's, again, a good time for the district's economy. Now, I told my staff that I'll do their disclaimer, but not the 10-minute one they wanted. I cannot predict what Donald Trump is going to tweet. I cannot predict his fiscal policies. But the things that we have to be aware of is what can happen on the fiscal side, what can happen on the national economy, and global events, make all forecasts uncertain. So now my economists are happy that I did that little disclaimer, but there's really no disclaiming that our finances of the district are strong, the government, our economy is really humming along very well, the private sector is doing well, the government's doing well, and that is really the outlook that we see as we go forward, is continue that momentum into the future, and you'll see that in our forecast, and you'll see that in the financial statements that will be coming out at the end of the month. So thank you, it's a pleasure to give you that news.
Hi, I'm Muriel Bowser, Mayor of Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. I'm proud to call this beautiful city my hometown. Washington, D.C. is a place of great history, innovation, and is home to the greatest monuments and museums in the world. As you venture across the city, you will find scores of neighborhoods that reflect the vibrancy and diversity of our residents. 1,000 more moving here every month and 20 million visitors a year. It is no wonder we are one of the top 3 strongest local economies in the United States. However, there's one number that's not so great: 0. That's how many votes we have in Congress. Like Americans across this country, D.C. residents pay federal taxes. In fact, more per person than any state. D.C. residents sit on juries and serve in our nation's military. But unlike other Americans, we do not have members of Congress or senators who can vote on policies that we care about and that affect our daily lives. At least not yet. We are in the process of becoming the 51st state, and only with statehood will we resolve this civil rights issue. We hope you will learn more about our efforts to right this wrong by visiting statehood.dc.gov for more information. I wish you a safe and enjoyable ride, and welcome again to Washington, D.C.
Good evening, everyone. And if you're wondering why the mayor invited you to a fun ride, it's not this panel. That's actually a video that's going to show in all of the taxi cabs throughout the district. So you'll see that as you're on the taxi cab. So visitors from around the country and around the world will know about our fight for DC statehood. And up here on the panel, I wanted to introduce my colleagues, Beverly Perry, the mayor's senior advisor, Rashad Young, the city administrator, and Mark Toohey, the mayor's legal counsel. I think Mark got the biggest applause. It's always the legal counsel that does. But we wanted to talk to you a little bit about, we heard from one of our partners already, Jeff DeWitt, the CFO, about how the district is doing financially. But as you know, although we're a city, county, and state, the mayor doesn't do it alone. We do it with partnerships in government. And to talk to you a little bit about that, that's what this panel is going to do today. So one of the first partners that we deal with on a daily basis, we've done so now for 2 years, and now we have a new session started just, or will start actually, I guess, tomorrow. And that's the Council of the District of Columbia. And Beverly Perry has to work with them on a day-to-day basis on behalf of the mayor. So Beverly, talk to us a little bit about sort of what we've been able to work on with the council in terms of appointments and legislation.
Well, thank you, John. I think Rashad got a little bit larger applause than I did. No. Well, as you know, in order to get anything passed by any legislative body, you got to have a collaborative relationship. So we have our director of OPLA that works collaboratively with the council every day, and so do I, so do all of us. all of the members of the administration. So let me just give you some examples. For example, many of you have been appointed to boards and commissions. You are special. We have had over 1,200 appointments to boards and commissions. We have had 1,212 boards, members of boards and commissions confirmed. So give yourself a round of applause. We have had almost 300 district agency staff appointees. All have been confirmed. We have had we've had over 1,500 appointees confirmed. 477 were nominated and confirmed by the council. So I think that shows a lot of success, a lot of accomplishments. The first thing you got to do is get your team in place, and we've been very effective in getting the team in place. With respect to legislation, we know this mayor came in and she challenged you to come up with a lot of fresh ideas, and you did. So those fresh ideas have been incorporated into legislation. Some 50 bills have been passed by the council of ideas you came up with and the mayor has sent to the council for passage. Now, you know the government has a lot of services. We contract for a lot of services. We've had 549 contracts to go to the council and get approved. So, and then we've had another 513 contracts to go to the council and just deemed approved, you know. So the business have been moving very smoothly. We have gotten, we've been effective with legislation, effective with contracts, effective with appointments. And so with that, I think I will stop right there and thank you for your service on all your boards and commissions.
And Rashad, it's not just on legislation and appointments that we need to work with partners. Just operationally, we need to be ready for what we face together, whether that's an event like a snowstorm, which we hope we don't have any this year, or the, knock on wood, or an event like the inauguration where we work with regional and federal partners. How does that all come together, and what sort of are the good examples of how we work best together?
Yeah, sure. We're in a pretty unique space here in this region in that we have the convening power and the ability to pull all of our neighboring jurisdictions together and work on common issues and common elements. And for us, the Council of Government is the place that pulls us together. And so all of the jurisdictions around this area participate in the COG, as we call it, and work really effectively on lots of issues. At present now is snow. And so when we are facing inclement weather across this region, all of the jurisdictions in Northern Virginia, in Maryland, the District of Columbia, and even the federal government come together and figure out the best way to tackle that. Case in point, if we were to have snow tonight, and we are not, we would have a conference call of the jurisdictions across the region, the National Weather Service, and the federal government at 3 o'clock in the morning. And we talk about what each jurisdiction is facing, what our operating status is, what the school status is, how the states of Maryland and the Commonwealth of Virginia will handle their highway systems, how we'll handle our highway systems, what the federal government will do in terms of opening and closing. And this gives us all an opportunity to have input and talk about how we have a common approach to that issue. As everyone knows, next week, and the mayor says, we have the honor and privilege of hosting a peaceful transfer of power in Washington, D.C. And this is yet another example where the region comes together in a very powerful way to make that happen. whether it's our Office of Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, working with all of the partners to include the United States Secret Service and the Park Police and the Capitol Police, whether it's the Metropolitan Police Department, working with some 3,000 officers from across the nation who will come here to provide security support, or the National Guard to provide security and crowd control support. We all work for a common purpose in helping to make sure that the peaceful transfer of power occurs. And we also work on tough issues in this region. And so right now there is a technical panel that's been convened by the Council of Governments that includes the Maryland jurisdictions, Virginia jurisdictions, as well as DC, to tackle our transit issues in the region. And so the city administrators and my colleagues from across the region are working with our CFO to talk about how we will deal with Metro and funding in the long term, how we'll make sure we have a transit system that supports the development across the region. And all this occurs while also our mayor shows leadership not only in the district, but working with those state partners. John said we're a city, county, and a state. Our mayor convenes and works with the governor of Virginia, the governor of Maryland, and so we have countless examples and spend a lot of energy working with different jurisdictions in this region to make sure that we can advance an agenda for prosperity for the entire DC metro area.
And Mark, there's been a lot of attention recently on the criminal justice system, and we have a unique sort of hybrid system here in the district. Can you talk to us about how you and your team have worked on coordinating with our federal partners and making sure that it works well for the residents and visitors of Washington?
Well, it's an important point that you raised, John, and it's an important, very important area for Mayor Bowser. Public safety and the criminal justice system is important to every community and every aspect of every community. And the mayor's administration has worked hard with our partners, some of whom are independent of the executive branch, or at least the executive office of the mayor. The courts are a different branch of government. The United States Attorney is independent and yet interrelated to prosecute our criminal justice issues with adults. And the Attorney General, now an independent Attorney General, is also responsible for a component part. And I will say that the Bowser administration has developed a very good ongoing working relationship with all of the various component parts of the criminal justice system. Sure, there are differences about things, but people have come together and are working together on a daily basis. That involves our federal judges, our Superior Court judges, the Public Defender's Service, the CSOSA, of course, the Attorney General and the United States Attorney, not to mention a top-class police department and fire service as well. And I think we should recognize we are very blessed in this city to have, thanks to the leadership of the mayor, to have a number of very strong persons and leaders in these groups. But these groups meet, John, on a regular basis. Tomorrow morning, for example, is the interagency detention group, which involves the Deputy Mayor of Public Safety, myself, members of the Public Defender's Service, the United States Attorney, the courts, et cetera, that are constantly working with our Department of Corrections as well to ensure that our incarcerated men and women are moving toward rehabilitation and the fresh start that the mayor is it's so important to her administration and to all of us. The Attorney General's office and the United States Attorney have now additional resources, thanks to Mayor Bowser, to assure that there are more people involved in the investigation and prosecution of crimes. And that's Mayor Bowser's fresh start as well. So I think in general, the system is working well day in and day out and will continue. There are challenges, make no mistake, there are plenty of challenges, but we have to deal with this in a very responsible and collaborative way, and thanks to the Bowser administration, that's happening.
Fantastic. So we have time for one more question, and if you haven't been in one of our staff meetings before, usually the first and the last word goes to Beverly Perry. So we'll point this question to Ms. Perry and ask, so I know it's on a lot of people's minds, but next Friday we'll have a new administration in the White House. We already have a new Congress. What are some of the challenges and opportunities for the administration and for the city as we interface with our federal partners?
So, John, I think if you know me, you know I only see opportunities. Hold it up. Okay, I only see opportunities. I don't see challenges. So let me just say that, give you a little report. So Mayor Bowser, when she came in, she says, you know, I found out New York has a Washington office. And we're here in Washington, but we don't have a Washington office. So she created a team to, you know, serve as the Washington office. We have our Washington office, just like Maryland and many of the other jurisdictions. And in that Washington office, we do a lot of things. First of all, it is our job to make sure we have really good relationships with the federal government, make sure we can navigate the different agencies of the federal government. So we've been working on that, and over the past 2 years, we've done a lot. Many of you may have heard about, like, for example, we had a partnership with HUD, with DHCD, that we have now put we have wired for the internet 1,700 homes in public housing that did not have internet facilities availability. And most of us know that in order to look for jobs and to be productive in our society, you got to have internet availability. So thanks to DHCD and HUD with our partnership, that's just an example of the kind of things that we're doing. The mayor has also taken leadership in organizations like the U.S. Conference of Mayors. Last week, you may have heard that we all know that Obamacare is under attack. And so Leader McCarthy asked us to say, let us know, the U.S. Conference of Mayors said we got to let the Congress know that how this will affect us. The mayor's letter was quoted, you know, almost verbatim in the analysis about Obamacare. So we're doing all of those things. And over the last year, you'll know that one of the, I guess the culmination, we could say, of the past 2 years of OFER's activities was the vote, the 80% vote on statehood. That office is responsible for, the city's statehood efforts. And as you know, we got that 80% vote. And you may have heard that the mayor's already had a meeting. So we intend to navigate the new administration. She was one of the first mayors to go in and meet with the president-elect. So with that we are on the move. We are trying to navigate these waters, and we only see a lot of opportunities.
Well, thank the panel, not just for being on a panel with me, but also the work that we do every day. But we can't do it without partners, whether they're in this room or the folks folks here today. So please give yourselves a round of applause as well.
VOW Transportation is a transportation service for people with disabilities. I wanted to start a business to help people with disabilities to overcome those barriers. The Inspire program was designed to help returning citizens become entrepreneurs. First was learning Business 101 and being around a family-like environment and just showing you that it's possible, regardless of your past or the mistakes you may have made in life. I would say to the mayor, I would tell her that she changed my life. I just would like to thank her for the opportunity and thank her for the program.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Donahue. I'm the Deputy Mayor for Public Safety and Justice. I want to provide some context to this panel. In May of 2015, DC saw a sudden rise in homicides. That continued throughout that summer and into early fall. It turned out we were not alone. Last year, 22 of the 25 largest cities in the US also experienced rises in homicides, many for the first time in years. It was especially frustrating for DC because we ended each of the past 2 years with lower violent crime than we had the year before, and in fact ended 2016 with the lowest number of violent crimes we have had in decades. Our challenge was fatal violence. So when we looked at how to respond, a couple of things became clear. One is that we needed new ideas. Like the rest of the country, we had been pursuing the same ideas for a long time. And then, like the rest of the country, our circumstance changed. And second, these new ideas were not going to come from what we traditionally think of as public safety, that we need to be able to broaden what we're doing to include every aspect of DC government. So the mayor asked us to start a safer, stronger team. That includes now over a dozen agencies in every part and every cluster of government. You see 4 of them here. Dr. Roger Mitchell, Dr. LaQuandra Nesbitt, our medical examiner and Department of Health directors, have been the leaders of the effort because we wanted to have a public safety emphasis, public health emphasis. And then the deputy mayors for Health and Human Services, deputy mayor for Education also provide vital roles here. So with that as context, I want to start with Dr. Mitchell. So you have a unique perspective on this. You're the medical examiner for the city. Can you talk about that perspective? And then when you were asked to lead the effort in pulling together a Safer, Stronger Advisory Committee, talk about that process.
Well, thank you, Kevin. It's not often on a panel like this that I'm the first to go. Usually the medical examiner's the last. But that's the point. I think that Mayor Bowser and my deputy mayor have seen something a little bit different in how we approach this question of violence in our community. In particular, getting all people involved that have some idea of what can happen to make it better, bringing them to the table. And so I see all fatal violence in the District of Columbia, not only fatal violence as we think of it when it comes to homicides, but also suicides, drug overdoses, motor vehicle collisions, and such. And so when asked to lead this Safer, Stronger Advisory Committee, LaQuandra and I, or Dr. Nesbitt and I, pulled together about 30 individuals throughout both agency as well as community to look at 4 major areas: community stabilization, which is the acute response to violence in the city; community outreach, which is how do we connect community to available resources in the city; community building, how do we increase capacity for community-based programming that are doing work surrounding violence prevention in the city; and economic opportunity. How do we impart and provide the opportunities for resilience in the city? And so this 30-group panel pulled together about 54 recommendations that would serve as the basis for the Safer, Stronger plan that will be moving the work forward that's happening in Health and Human Services. With that, the work is about trying not to have our law enforcement partners be the only ones working on this work. That this work is a citywide issue that we're tackling. And quite frankly, we think that it's worked, right? Because we know homicides were down in 2015. And so homicides being down in 2015, it was a group effort for the city.
Dr. Nesbitt, so both Dr. Mitchell and I have referenced sort of a health-based approach. Can you sort of demystify what exactly does that mean? And what does it mean as a city as we approach violence and try to tackle it?
Right, so it's pretty loaded to try to explain it. Our first meeting was 3 hours. explaining it
You
to
have about
the,
4 minutes.
Yeah. So yes, Kevin is very clear that I have 4 minutes to unpack this. So, we want to make sure that people understand when we say a public health approach, we're not speaking only to health-related services, right? So when you see a health director or someone trained as a physician talking about a health approach, people start thinking immediately about popping up clinical services. So we're not talking about providing mental health services or behavioral health services. We will provide those services if those services are indicated. But we're really talking about applying public health tools in the way that we talk about identifying disease or breaking up any epidemic in the way that we would address flu, or how we're addressing concerns about Zika or any health thing that could spread through a community. So it's applying those principles. So when we talk about data, and I love data. I love data. I love being able to look at data and see how we're making progress or not making progress toward any condition that affects the health and well-being or social well-being of our communities. But we like data because data helps us track our progress, but we recognize that we have to look beyond the data and connect to the hearts and souls of our community, which is the reason why we do our work. So that public health approach is really about how do we take that information, that data, and understand the root causes of our problems, take that information we now know about the root causes of our problems, and then develop responsible solutions that can be implemented in our communities that are specific to the District of Columbia. Now, we want them to be informed by evidence, but we don't want to be so over-informed by evidence that we don't allow for innovation and creativity and thinking outside the box. So when Dr. Mitchell talks about making progress in 2016, there was an element of thinking outside the box, not always applying the same things that have been done a decade before, 20 years before, or even just 2 years before, because a modern problem requires a modern or contemporary solution or way of thinking. And we also have been able to collaborate across several agencies and also leveraging federal partnerships and federal resources. I think we heard Ms. Perry talk about how critically important that is. And there were some projects that previous iterations of the city's leadership had tried to pursue before, but weren't successful in securing. But because of Mayor Bowser's leadership and the vision that was created under Safer, Stronger DC and the advisory committee, this time when we went for funding under things like the National Violent Death Reporting System that creates a collaboration between 4 agencies in the government, we were able to secure that funding from the CDC. So we are making progress. We are being able to use data and evidence to grasp solutions, but we're also doing it in significant partnership with the community.
Thank you. So now this all has to become reality at city agencies who are delivering service and trying to improve things for DC residents. So I'll turn to the deputy mayors. So maybe starting with Deputy Mayor Chung, and a lot of this will be in health and human services. Can you give some practical examples of what this means in practice, and then we'll ask Deputy Mayor Niles to add some as well.
Yes, we have the pleasure of implementing and operationalizing the conceptual genius work that the two of you did. I have to give a shout out for Marcus, who is a director of our Stronger, Safer Community Partnerships, and that is the program I wanted to highlight. It is the pride and joy of our cluster and our organization and our agency, and I know that there's a lot of pride among the executive team as well. So I just wanted to say one data point that I think just speaks for itself. 11% decrease in violent crimes in our cluster neighborhoods, the concentrated neighborhoods that we've focused on the last 2 years. That is amazing. And the whole premise about operationalizing a very, very big, bold venture when there is cross-collaboration among the cluster agencies, but also within our different agency organizations, we had to be very creative. And so in my office, we have the actual staff that actually goes out in the community to operationalize and make this happen and make it a reality. And the premise here is really community engagement. We have our community action teams. Over the last 2 years, we've had resident engagement of over 1,741 times, which means they are interacting with residents in the violent crime areas, in the priority neighborhoods that we've connected with. It also means that we're trying to build the community. We have put out 43 mini grants, and really the grants are a way for us to figure out how to reach the neighborhood, how to reach the assets already in the neighborhood and really build. So as a public health approach, we are trying to figure out how to prevent, but also go in with a very asset-driven model so that we can actually heal the community once a violent crime happens. And so I believe it is our agency, my cluster agencies that are responsible for healing, for intervening, for preventing, for going in and actually addressing all the needs of the residents.
So we'll close out with Deputy Mayor Niles. So a lot of this and a lot of what would come up would be the work and the exposure kids have at schools and rec centers, say kids and young adults, and the effect and the influence that can have on trying to prevent violence. Can you also sort of give some practical examples of what this approach and how it's taking a hold within rec centers or schools?
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. I think that to start with, we need to acknowledge that and many of you have read about the national, unfortunately, school-to-prison pipeline that we have created in this country. And so one of the things that I'm most proud of is our efforts both in our DC public schools and our public charter schools that are reducing the number of suspensions that our kids are experiencing. School is the safest place for our kids to be. It's also where they learn. So look, it's a twofer. So we need to make sure that we're really focusing on that. I just want to give you some, we have not reached nirvana yet, but we are making significant progress. For instance, we had a restorative justice initiative, that we have a restorative justice initiative, and the pilot schools in DCPS saw a 50% reduction in suspensions after the first year, and we've now expanded that in DCPS to 20 more schools. Yeah, thank you for clapping for that. I also want to highlight in public charter schools, we saw a 25% reduction in the number of days that kids were suspended from last year to this year, or from the last year to the year before. And so both of those efforts are undergirded by a couple different things. One is that there's a community of practice that is sponsored by the Office of the State Superintendent of Education that is working across our sectors with different LEAs together to build these restorative practices. The other is that the Public Charter School Board hosted conferences with another partner, Fight for Children, about behavior management and about restorative practices. And finally, OSSE does an annual discipline report, because one of the ways that this is getting better is by shining light on it. And so between that annual report and then the equity reports that we are reporting on all the time, so everybody can see what it is that we're doing, we're seeing that steady decline, and that's exactly we need our kids in school all day long, learning and breaking that school-to-prison pipeline.
Thank you.
When we first started looking for commercial space, the space was a concrete shell, there was nothing here. And we were looking at $350,000 to build it out. We looked at programs that could help us, and the Great Streets Grant Program was one of them, a program that helps small businesses start on a successful note. This is a business where you bring joy to people. It made me think, how am I going to benefit the community? Because that was a huge part of the program. My biggest inspiration, which is the children's program. We started this program this year, and it's been growing and becoming very successful, and it's super inspirational because you see little kids grow into little dancers and focusing on something positive in their life. I'm extremely grateful to the Great Streets Grant Program and the DC Mayor's Office. I'm living my dream, and I could not have asked for more.
welcome everybody. Thank you for having us. My name is Brian Kenner. I'm the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. You know, as I sort of think about this panel, which is really going to talk a little bit about two things that are quite important in the District of Columbia: jobs and the creative economy. And especially after having just seen that video, it always reminds me that we are doing things for people. This is all about the people, the residents of the District of Columbia, and the impact that we have on them, which is one of the reasons why I'm so honored to be the Deputy Mayor. As I say at many of my speeches, I got three things that I need to be focused on. I need to be focused on increasing tax revenue in the District of Columbia, and that's why I'm always heartened when Jeff is around, because our tax revenues have reached new heights in the District of Columbia from many years of investment for DC. I need to be focused on making sure that we increase affordable housing in the District of Columbia. Thank you. And the mayor has been an incredible champion of that. We have more units both in our pipeline and that we have delivered than at any other time in the district's history before. And the final one is to make sure that we get jobs for DC residents, which is why this panel in particular is so awesome. And so I'm just going to kick right into it. Maybe with the first question for the Deputy Mayor Snowden, who we have here on our panel. Which is, I know that our unemployment rate has been dropping in the District of Columbia.
Oh, yeah.
And so I wonder if you could talk just a little bit about your thoughts and feelings about how we've been able to master that.
So I have one job, and that's to help make sure we drop unemployment in the District of Columbia. The mayor's made that very clear, and we have been able to use a bunch of creative tools to get that done. Now, let me give you some applause-worthy headlines. So you heard from Jeff about how we've seen a drop in unemployment across the city at 1.4%. That's huge. But let me tell you the even better news. In Ward 8, we've seen a decrease of 3.2%. That's right. And in Ward 7, it's been 2.5% at pre-2007 recession levels, right? This is huge. This is huge. Now the question becomes, how do we get there, right? And we got there really through the leadership and vision of Mayor Bowser. She said early on, I want to make sure that we are hiring DC residents for district government jobs, right? And so she, in her brilliance, I swear it's true, created something called the Learn, Earn, Advance, and Prosper Academy, the LEAP Academy. You're going to hear from one of the program participants who has changed her life in ways that are unreal. This program trains district residents for 12 months for jobs that exist right now in the district government. This is huge. We expanded the Marion Barry Summer Youth Employment Program to 22 to 24-year-olds. Now, Mayor, we had a little bit of a fight on that, didn't we? We still do, and we need you calling and letting folks know that expansion was important, because what it did was it gave our young people an opportunity to work and get real experience even after they pursued education. We know the job market in DC can be pretty competitive. Every single type A student government president from around the country comes here, and our job is to make sure that our folks are prepared to compete against them, and we're doing it every day, and NBSYAP is an important piece of that. Now, just to piggyback on the panel before, we also created a program called DC Career Connections. Now, this is a program that you've talked about at your dinner table many, many times, right, Todd? This is a program where you thought to yourself, we need a program for young people who are just as involved or who've made some poor decisions, where we can pull them back in and prepare them for job opportunities so they can make a change when they're ready. And that's exactly what we've done with more than 600 young people in the District of Columbia. And that also has contributed to an 11% decrease in violent crime in communities. This is huge and applause-worthy. We've expanded apprenticeships. We've created opportunities and partnerships, and thanks to Brian's leadership, in fact, we've been able to negotiate some pretty good deals that create some jobs. And what's really exciting is we're holding these folks accountable when they don't make good on their promises to the city. Right, Mayor? That's right. And so applaud that and remember that when you're out in the communities talking to people. This does not happen by osmosis. People just don't start working. We create pathways to opportunity, and this administration has taken the lead on it, which is why we've had such overwhelming success. Now, we have more to do, but we are moving in the right direction every single day.
Thank you, Courtney. We also have here Director Angie Gates, who represents our Office of Cable Television, Film, Music, and Entertainment. really helping to drive the creative economy along with Director Espinoza from our Arts and Humanities Commission. I got an actual email today saying that the creative economy literally is the #2 export that we have in the District of Columbia, employing 60,000 people and providing hundreds of millions of dollars in terms of economic benefit to the District of Columbia. And so, Director Gates, I know that you, in addition, also have a training program that's centered around the creative economy. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So let me just start by saying that DC is the capital of creativity. We have the most diverse, most vibrant creative communities. So let me just start with there. And hats off to Mayor Bowser for kicking off the initiative 202 Creates. And I've recently worked with DOES with the Creative Economy Career Access Program. This is the first Creative Economy workforce training program in the District of Columbia. We have 10, I would call it our inaugural class, where we are doing more than just training. We are training and employing these 10 individuals. We're working with, that's a clap now. We're working closely with DCTV, and there's a 6-week media training module where they're learning how to edit, how to produce, how to script write, but we're taking it a step further, and we are partnering with different private partners to give them jobs for 12 months. They're working for 12 months, which are preparing them to immediately get the job experience to work on film productions and really create a pathway to the middle class. So the Creative Economy Career Access Program is only the beginning. There's much more to come.
Awesome, thank you. How many CBEs do we have in the audience today? Yeah, we got some. Good. Deputy Mayor Snowden, I know that small businesses in general, sort of in your purview and on your radar in terms of what we can be doing to support them. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about some of the support we've been doing.
You know, two of my favorite subjects, fixing this unemployment problem and fixing this small business challenge that we have in the district. Now, we've heard from a lot of CBEs and SBEs about some of the challenges in doing business here in the District of Columbia. And I'll tell you, again, this administration has doubled down in ways that we haven't seen before. Mayor Bowser created something called the CBE SBE Opportunity Guide. How many of you have seen the Green Book? You have a jump drive of it in your bags. Please make sure you check it out. Let me tell you about that Green Book. So every year, the government makes a commitment that we're going to spend money with SBEs throughout the city. And those are businesses that are registered and licensed and certified to do business in the District of Columbia. Now, we are the first administration to make good on the promise to actually set a transparent and clear goal. 1, 2, yes. Get ready to applaud. And actually meet it. How about that? Okay. So the goal this year, this past year, was $317 million, and we spent more than $620 million with small business enterprises in the District of Columbia. Now, why is that a big deal? It's a big deal because those businesses are putting DC residents to work. Right? And so if we can spend more money with them and they can provide the high quality goods and services that they do provide here in the District of Columbia, they can hire more people and solve that other problem that we talked about. Now I'll just say a couple more words about what our big goal is here. Our goal is to grow resident entrepreneurs here in the District of Columbia. Small businesses are the economic engine of communities. I see Stan Jackson nodding his head. That's right, we talk about this a lot. And here's the reality. If we can grow resident-owned small businesses, we can solve two problems in some of our most overlooked and underserved communities. One, we can create some economic vibrancy, which our communities need, particularly east of the river. But two, we can create job opportunities and pathways to the middle class. So you saw a video of a gentleman with the Aspire to Entrepreneurship program, right? Let me tell you about that man that we missed in the video. He, in less than 6 months, got a $41,000 bank loan. Now, this is a returning citizen who has some business acumen, if you will, right? But also got a contract for $162,000 with 3 vans, right? And he's created jobs in his community for other returning citizens who are having a hard way to go. That's how we're going to change our community. We've created a program called, and he's here. Wave for me. That's right. We are proud of this program. We are proud of this program. We also launched a program called Project 500, and we launched that, right, April 1st of last year. Brian and I did this together, of course, with the mayor's leadership. And let me tell you about Project 500. Some of you have been on U Street before. You've been to 8th Street. You've been to Columbia Heights, right? And you remember that there was a time before prosperity came and there were businesses that were there, right? Well, our goal is to make sure that the businesses that are there can adapt and stay when prosperity comes. Yeah, that's right. So with Project 500, we've really focused intentional resources with the American University Center for Innovation in the Capitol, who's our great partner on this, and Melissa Bradley there, to educate businesses about how to develop an individual growth and development and expansion plan. We are partnering them with all sorts of both low-cost and free capital. We found some venture capitalists who are eager to support businesses in overlooked and underserved communities. They're training them about the best ways to approach their business and the expansion of their business. They're provided with mentors. Now, we have a lot of businesses across the city that have gotten into Project 500. The greatest number come from east of the river, and that was our goal. The way that we are going to change overlooked and underserved communities is by increasing affordable housing, getting people back to work, but importantly, by helping people start small businesses so that we can turn the tide in these communities. And we are doing it every day through Project 500 and other programs out of the Department of Small and Local Business Development. We are incredibly excited about the impact of that, and we know that it'll make a huge, huge, huge difference. And if we can continue to support our small business enterprises, we also know that we will be able to continue to get our folks hired and in good, self-sustaining and family-sustaining jobs right here in the District of Columbia. The mayor always says it doesn't matter how much affordable housing you build, you don't got a job, you can't pay for it. And that's what we're working on.
Awesome. How many people know George Clinton Parliament P. Funkadelic? Okay, awesome. How many people came to the 202 Festival and heard him live? Anybody? If you didn't, the 202 Festival was just one of the events as a part of the month of September this past year, celebrating what we call 202 Creates, which is an opportunity to really highlight in the District of Columbia the creative economy. Director Gates, you did a fantastic job, along with Director Espinosa, of launching 202 Creates. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about some of the positive results that you saw from that.
There were a ton of positive results and several results happening every day. So let's just start with what happened in September alone. In September, we partnered with 155 community organizations. We had 600 direct contacts with the creative community. Then we had these wonderful, wonderful creative conversations via social media, and we connected with 18 million via our hashtag 202Creates. 944 events took place over the course of 30 days. And in addition to that, we worked very closely with our Made in DC businesses. Things were so creative and productive with the creative community, we had to have our own website. So please go to 202creates.com and stay up to date. And we highlighted a lot of the creatives and conducted video profiles with the creative community. And we've made it a point to start working together. So we're doing pop-up co-working space events with the creative community to sit down. As the mayor always says, we want you to have a seat at the table, and that's what we're doing via 202 Creates.
Awesome.
You know, Brian, there's one thing I should mention. So Ms. Perry talked a lot about how we've been working with the council, and two things that we worked very closely with the council on, but we take a lot of credit for because we did the hard work on it with them, is the increase in the minimum wage to $15, because this Pathways to the Middle Class agenda is not just about creating opportunity, it's about making sure that people have jobs that can pay them a sustainable wage. We also, for the first time in many years, increased the unemployment insurance benefit, which means if you're on unemployment, you get a higher benefit. I want to thank the folks at DOS who worked so hard to get that done. The reason why that's significant is because we know that when residents are working hard to keep themselves above water, we've got to help them appropriately fill the gaps. As they're training, as they're working to sustain their families, they need to make sure that they can sustain themselves on unemployment, but most importantly, and also importantly, that they can get a wage that allows them to stay right here in the city.
Awesome. I would just like to thank our panelists. I think you all did a fantastic job, and really thank you all, because it's obviously it's many of the people in this room are responsible for the great sort of economic success that we've seen in the District of Columbia. But the other way to say that is that it's all for you. We're all DC residents, and these are the programs and the reasons why we get up in the morning. So thank you all very much.
I work for Access Green. We're an LED light installation company. We provide commercial businesses here in the DC metropolitan area with LED light, which helps preserve energy and lowers your utility bills. LEAP stands for Learn, Earn, Advance, and Prosper. The LEAP program is a program funded by DC government for DC residents. It provides on-the-job training and job readiness. Since joining the LEAP program, not only did I acquire a job here at Access Green, I have acquired a career. I do all of the human resources work, and I oversee 4 to 5 employees. My long-term goals would be to move from where I'm at now to middle class or beyond, and to send my children to college. I would personally like to thank the Mayor's Office and DC government for funding programs such as the LEAP program, because it has been a life-changing experience for me and my family. Not only do they fund the LEAP program, but they also provide funding for Access Green, and without their funding and their help, none of this would be possible.
Good evening. My name is Jenny Reed. I am DC's Chief Performance Officer, and I'm very excited to be here tonight talking about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, which is open government. Even before, yes. All right, off to a good start. So even before taking office, Mayor Bowser's really placed a high priority on building a government that's open, inclusive, and accountable. And we've taken some big steps toward that goal this year. For example, she created the Mayor's Open Government Advisory Group, which is both government officials and public members working together to figure out ways to make the government more open and inclusive and transparent. She released a brand new online tool, openbudget.dc.gov, that lets I love it, there's so many fans, to help the public explore one of the more important initiatives we undertake every year, which is the DC budget. She continues to take a data-driven approach to looking at issues like robbery and traffic and mowing. And then most importantly, she's releasing her second accountability report tonight and holding herself up as an example of what she wants her government to be: open, accountable, and transparent. And that's just the start. So I'm very excited today to be here with 3 DC government leaders to discuss some of the amazing things that we've been undertaking this year to make DC government more open and accountable. So tonight we have Barney Krukoff, DC's first Chief Data Officer with the Office of the Chief Technology Officer, Andrew Trueblood, the Chief of Staff for the Deputy Mayor for Planning on Economic Development, and David Yoakum, who is the director of one of DC's newest initiatives, the Lab at DC. So my first question is for Barney. Can you talk a little bit about what you've been doing over the past year to really make DC more open, and what's the benefit for residents?
Mostly we're working on doing what you heard many of the deputy mayors and directors point out, that data is what they use to know they're doing a good job, to know they're meeting their goals. So Mayor Bowser has hired such exciting people, and they're using data. So our job as Chief Data Officer is to help them. How does the data move around the city? How much work is it for those managers to compile those information, to share them with people in different subject matter, and make that flow and make it faster? Also, to share that data with the public whenever we can. We can't always. There'll be times where we have private data, where we have secure data that needs to be kept on the city's secure servers safely. But whenever we can, our mission is to be open by default. So if we're not opening data, we want to be able to tell you we have that data set, and here's a good reason we're not opening it. So those are the major things. We've got 900 data sets plus now on opendata.dc.gov. I like to say it's everything from ABRA to zoning. So there's a lot in there. I'm going to hit some of the highlights of data that was released this year. Business licenses, campaign finance expenditures and contributions, parking violations, moving violations. A cheer for parking violations. How about that? That's the first. The Douglas Commonwealth proposed boundary, summer camps, and I mentioned zoning earlier. They really revamped their data sets, totally redid their regulations, so a big effort from them. We'll move on.
Where can residents go to find this data if they want to go look at it and explore it?
I mentioned opendata.dc.gov is our open data portal for the city. You can look at maps there. You can download the data in various formats. If you're a computer developer, which is a thriving industry in our city, you can get the data in APIs, application programming interfaces, and you can do wonderful things with it. We don't have but the tip of the iceberg of the city's data. 900 data sets is a lot. We're up there with any other city, but there's so much more that we want to make available through that platform. So we want to inventory our city's data in a way that we really haven't had a chance to yet, and to go through that inventory and let the citizens know, make that data set an open data set. Here's data we have. If it's not open, here's why it's not open. And so that's an opportunity / big challenge coming up for the coming year.
Great. My next question is for Andrew. Could you talk a little bit about what DEMPED's done over the past year to make DC both more open and more inclusive for residents?
Sure. But first, I actually want to say it's good to see a number of the folks from the Open and Good Government and Full Democracy Committee from Transition here. I think I'm lucky in that I was able to help staff that committee and take a lot of the work that from the mayor's vision and from that committee and think about how we can apply it to economic development and to people. And our new mantra has become sexy data, so that is what we are trying to do. So sexy data, let's talk about that. One of the things that we're very excited about this year is we released what we call our Economic Intelligence Dashboard. We had been using data to kind of inform our understanding of the economy for the first year, but this year we decided, well, if the deputy mayor and the city administrator and the mayor have this, why can't we make it public to everybody as well? So we took the data, we both made much of it, put it on the open data platform, but as importantly, we put it on a website that people can see and that it's open. It's coded in GitHub is what it's called, but coders can come in, can look at it, can change graphs and things, or make suggestions for how to change it. And the other thing that we like about, that we're excited about in terms of this economic intelligence dashboard is that we had 5 roundtables where we met with residents and business community and people who are interested to help us shape it. And you'll actually see one of the infographics. It's on the back of your handout in the middle with the yellow is all about that. So it's also about communicating how we use the data. So in fact, this part of this tool, which goes into, we have ward level data for the first time. You can go in and see what's happening in each ward. So we call it our ward indicators tool, was nominated by DC Inno as one of the best web tools in 2016. That's not one of the best government web tools. That's just one of the best web tools for the city in 2016. So we're really proud of that. And so that's lots of data. We try to make it accessible, but also for folks who care about coding or about data, usable for them too. The other piece I want to highlight briefly is our RFP process that we've brought to economic development. The idea is that we want to try and make our RFPs more accessible. We want to get we want to get feedback. We want to hear from the community even before we put the RFP out. So we've done 4 of those. We've talked to over 700 DC residents, and we have one actually upcoming, the Eastern Branch Boys and Girls Club in Hill East. We'll have an outreach session on January 28th. And so we're very excited by the feedback that we've received. There's lots of Post-it notes that have been put up and data that we've used to formulate our RFPs. And we think that actually, even in the transition, the talk was about how this might add a little bit of time up front because we have to go through this process, which takes a few months, but it saves it on the back end because everybody's in line. So we've seen that already with some of the projects we've worked on now. They're actually going very smoothly with the community on the back end, and they were some of the hardest ones that we had started with.
My last question is for David. Being one of the newest members of the administration, can you talk to us a little bit about what is the lab at DC and how is it making DC government more open and accountable?
Sure. And if parking tickets gets woots woots, I expect a lot of enthusiasm for this. So the lab at DC is something that about a year ago we got a multi-million-dollar grant to infuse additional scientific capacity into the district. And this is part of the mayor's commitment to using data and rigorous evidence in all of our decision making. And so what we have so far is we've been standing up a group of scientific experts being drawn in from academia, from nonprofits, for-profits, you sort of name it, with backgrounds in psychology, economics, statistics, mathematics, and a lot of other fields that are working closely with agencies doing a sort of a two-step, working first to think really deeply about, what are the policy or program issues you're working on that if you knew something would cause you to change what you're doing. And the first part of the step is thinking about what are the things we already know from published research that might be relevant. And then the second step is, because you often don't know exactly how it's going to work in your setting, what are the things that we can do to design a study that when you're acting, you can be learning on the fly whether your program or policy is working the way you want. And so as one quick example, and I see a countdown coming in, one of the things that we've been doing together with the Metropolitan Police Department is asking questions about how well the body-worn camera program is working. And in the same way, if you want to know if Tylenol cures headaches, you take a group and split it in two, give some people Tylenol, not the others, and count the number of headaches. We've taken officers, some with cameras and others with not, and can compare the two to rigorously start to understand how the program is impacting our communities. And I'm proud to say that, to the best of my knowledge, this is the largest, most rigorous study on body-worn cameras in the planet.
Well, thank you, everyone. Our time is up, so I just want to thank the panel today. I want to mention that we have just scratched the surface of the things that we're undertaking in the Bowser administration to make government more open and transparent. And I want to put in a plug for an event that'll be held the first Saturday in February, where we're inviting folks to come out and help us look through a lot of the MPD data that we make public and help us think about ways to visualize that and make it easier for residents to understand what's going on in the city. So look out for more to come from us, and we'll be back next year with many more accomplishments. Thank you.
I have a bed grab bar because I did fall out of the bed one time. I got rails for my stairwell. I also have the grab bars that I can grab onto now as I entered my shower. When I first heard about the Safe at Home program, I asked them how long would it be, and they said one day, and sure enough, they did a good job. Why I say I like DC so much because they do give us good services. Everything has helped to keep me safer. I would say to Mayor Muriel Bowser, thank you very much. It's a wonderful program, and I know that it's going to benefit a lot of seniors who really deserve it.
So we're at the point of the program each year where we actually give out an award to a transition committee member who's helped us throughout the year. Before we get to that, though, I just wanted to point out on your program, there's actually, you'll see on the second page, there's a breakout. After this program is all over, what we'll do is we'll do some breakout sessions. We'll kind of break out almost to the exact same way we broke out during the transition, just of the ways that, so that you have an opportunity to talk to some of the folks that you saw on the panels, or some of the folks that are here who maybe you didn't hear from. You'll have a chance to interact with them one-on-one. So that'll happen out in the lobby area right after we're done with the program when that concludes. Also in your program, you'll see a lot of graphics. And you're probably wondering why there's all these graphics in here. What we wanted to do is to get some feedback from you all and to hear which ones you thought were your favorite graphic from this last year. It also is an opportunity for you to see some of the work that we've done and also help us spread the word about it. We'll also post those on our social media this week so that you can share it with your friends and colleagues, and we'll make sure for the folks in attendance that we also email it out to you all as well so that you'll have those to share with your neighbors. And also in your program is a list of, Ms. Perry talked about our legislative accomplishments for year 1 and 2. So check those out as well, just to see what we've accomplished with our partners on the council. So last year, we had an opportunity to thank Charlene Drew Jarvis, who's not with us tonight, but who was able to, and I see Dr. Mason looking up, who's now going to be serving on the UDC board, but Charlene Drew Jarvis was a great help throughout the transition, and actually in the first year of helping us as we screened different candidates for different posts. Whether that was how many cabinet members met Charlene Drew Jarvis? A lot of them, okay. During your time in the transition office or even afterwards, in that time where we were still filling spots. And so we recognized her last year for all that work that she did. And this year we wanted to recognize somebody who also has helped in that capacity. This person has helped us screen over 40 cabinet members throughout the, or cabinet member candidates throughout the transition and the 2 years since. He's also serving on a board and commission. And how many folks here serve on a board and commission? Great. For those who didn't raise their hand, if you go to mota.dc.gov, people always say, why do you spell it? So it's mota.dc.gov. I want you to sign up for any board or commission that you're interested in so that you can get involved in that way as well. But this board member actually, after doing all the interviews that he did to help us out, after saying, you know what, I'll give up some of my time. This board actually meets 1 day a week. I'll give up some of my time and I'll serve on that board. So how many folks here that are on a board or commission are the chair of that board or commission? Great. And for some of you, you knew you were going to be the chair of that board or commission when you got onto the board or commission. This person actually didn't know that. And I think when we asked him, he said, I'll serve on the board or commission because I really want to learn about this issue area. He's a small business owner who actually interacted with the board at one time and said, you know what, I want to learn more about the issue area and help neighbors who find themselves in a similar position that I did. And he said, whatever you do though, don't make me the chair. Comes to pass that we actually have a vacancy in the chairmanship after a few months. And this person decides that not only are they willing to do it, but they actually volunteered to do it. So for that, we're recognizing Fred Hill for this year's Transition Acknowledgement Award. So thank you, Fred. I was wondering, I said, he's got to know who we're talking about. And then he looked surprised. It's like a Golden Globe Awards. I knew that joke was going to go over better than the Aber the zoning joke. But anyway, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that we're going to do those breakouts after the program's over. Please check those out, and then also you'll have an opportunity to check out those graphics in a bigger format, and also have an opportunity to vote on your favorite ones. Later this, I guess later this week, we'll be sending those out via email and also providing an opportunity for you to share them again on social media. So thanks everyone for being here, and we've got another video.
People trained with hands-on hearts CPR.
I'm part of the first class of the new Anacostia Public Safety Academy.
I am here to talk about continuing to make DC neighborhoods safer and stronger. I signed the HIV Fast Track Cities Declaration. We continue to make progress in addressing this HIV epidemic.
Keep our cameras going all day. It's a little bit easier to do your job.
We are here today to celebrate raising the minimum wage right here in Washington, D.C.
The minimum wage is officially going up in the district.
This is a high-impact program that puts D.C. residents on the pathway to the middle class.
I'd like to thank you personally for giving me and my colleagues this opportunity.
We will spend $564 million with the small business enterprises in the District of Columbia.
We started as a CBE exactly 24 months ago. Now we have over 55 employees, half of whom are DC residents.
This stadium will be for the entire community.
It is a state-of-the-art fire station, a retail shop, headquarters for the nonprofit Kid Power, and it's a 214-room Hyatt Place hotel.
They're trying to bridge this achievement gap.
10 elementary and middle schools will have an extended year.
Get books into the hands of every child in our city from age 0 to 5.
Then they play peekaboo with scarves.
Most of the people in this building have a story that allows us to relate to the young men in this building.
We're able to afford a home that we love in the District of Columbia.
We have increased the amount of HPAP assistance by almost 60%. That will enable hundreds of more homeowners to be created in the District of Columbia.
The Home Manor program is a home buying program. It's a great program for first-time buyer.
In 2016, we spent a record $106 million of the Housing Production Trust Fund.
Thank you, particularly to the mayor, for your commitment to affordable housing.
We're going to have over 400 units of affordable housing created right here at Walter Reed.
This is DC's new streetcar.
The district has repaired or reconstructed nearly 300 alleys across all 8 wards.
As part of its efforts to promote statehood, the Advocacy Working Group will build relationships with the business community to direct resources that enhance statehood activities.
80% of Washingtonians voted for statehood for Washington, D.C.
My name is Candace Taylor, and I was born and raised in D.C. I grew up in Northeast D.C. in Ward 6, 1 block from RFK Stadium. I graduated from Elliott Junior High School and later School Without Walls Senior High School. My parents aren't rich by no means, but I was blessed to be able to attend Hamline University in St. Paul, Minnesota, and went on to earn a law degree from Hofstra University School of Law in Hempstead, New York. It was my belief in Jesus Christ and my parents' encouragement that got me through those delightful yet difficult years, especially my dad's reminder that you must commit to whatever you do, and my mother's tenacity, forget about it. She taught me never to accept no for an answer, and not just pursuing, but in achieving my goals. So, with those values and my grandmother taking the time to introduce me to Christ, I set out to make a life for myself that my parents would be proud of and that I would thrive in. However, that all changed shortly after law school. I began to question if I could have the life my parents talked about and that I envisioned for myself. I graduated from law school and began my job search during the recession of 2008-2009. I simply couldn't find a job. Law firms weren't hiring and the government surely wasn't, and I was in a very tight space. I did find temporary work as a contract attorney. I did document review and eventually ended up working at a small firm in Silver Spring. Well, shortly after being hired, that job ended. I was out of work and 3 months pregnant with my beautiful daughter, Kaylin. She's sitting over there. It's funny now, but I actually thought I would be okay because I was barred in a few jurisdictions and shouldn't have a problem finding another job. I filed for unemployment insurance benefits and exhausted every extension put in place by the Obama administration. When my unemployment ran out, I used up what little savings I had. Meanwhile, I had Kaylin, and I needed an income and health insurance. My family was a big help, but they had their own financial struggles. I eventually had to apply for public assistance. Yep, I was a licensed attorney and on welfare.
That's all right.
Thank you. It still has a profound effect on me to this day. When I think about it, I feel a mix of emotions. The most prominent is shame. I don't say that to disparage anyone who was on public assistance. I'm grateful for the assistance and the difference that it made in my life, but I never imagined that I would ever have to rely on public assistance. After all, I did everything right. I did what was expected of me. I did what I was supposed to do. I went to a prestigious college prep high school. I graduated from college with honors. I earned a law degree. I passed the bar exam. And I should have been on a very successful career path, but life didn't pan out that way. As a TANF recipient, I was required to participate in an employment program with one of many private vendors. I accepted my plight to a certain degree. I mean, what could I do? However, I continued to look for jobs as an attorney. I did pro bono work for a DC agency. I attended sessions aimed at strengthening families while reminding myself that I had to stay committed to finding a job that allowed me to practice law. I had to walk in faith, so I kept applying for jobs. I received so many rejection letters that my mother suggested that I file them away so that one day, when I finally got that job that I really wanted, I could look back at the letters and know that everything was a part of the plan. There was purpose for my life. After a few years, my caseworker at the employment vendor suggested that I apply for the LEAP Academy. It was a new initiative created by Mayor Bowser to put DC residents back to work and provide a pathway to the middle class. I was skeptical at first, I must admit. I thought that the LEAP Academy would distract me from my ultimate goal of finding a job as an attorney. She convinced me to apply, and I'm so glad that I did. After competing with hundreds of district residents, I was accepted into the LEAP Academy. I endured orientation, interviews, more orientation, and a few more interviews, and was eventually placed in the General Counsel's office of the District Department of Transportation. And wow, did my life begin to change. Working at DDOT provided me with invaluable legal experience. So I fine-tuned my legal research and writing skills. I further developed my ability to conduct a thorough legal analysis of issues. I drafted rulemakings, administrative orders, legal memos. I had the opportunity to attend professional development trainings. But best of all, my experience at DDOT restored my confidence. After years of receiving rejection letters and not being able to earn a living, I didn't feel like that edgy DC girl who graduated from Walls and survived winters in Minnesota and New York. But somewhere along the way, I had lost a part of myself. The LEAP Academy helped me rediscover who I was, a woman who's resilient, committed, passionate, and ambitious. After leaving DDOT, Director Deborah Curl, was instrumental in me interviewing and being offered a position with the Administrative Hearings Division at the Department of Employment Services. So I thank her for taking the time to consider how I could contribute to the important mission. I thank her for taking the time to consider how I could contribute to the important mission that DOES has in serving and meeting the needs of district residents and those who work in the district. The LEAP Academy not only helped restore my confidence, it provided me something far more valuable, the opportunity to network. I have met some dynamic people as a result of my involvement with the LEAP Academy. In fact, it was because of my connections with those individuals, they know who they are, that I was able to better position myself in the job search and application process, that I stand before you today, gainfully employed and doing what I enjoy doing, practicing law. Currently, I'm an associate counsel at the Board of Veterans Appeals. I am working on behalf of our veterans and providing quality, timely appellate decisions in response to claims filed for VA benefits. I'm on a career track that provides professional development and leads to a federal judgeship if I want it, and believe you me, I do. I'll be a judge one day, a few more years. So I want to thank you, Mayor Bowser. For creating the LEAP Academy and providing me the opportunity to continue to pursue my dreams. I know that success relies upon a quality education and hard work, but sometimes, even if you've done all of what's expected of you, you still need to know that someone is in your corner fighting for you. So, thank you, Mayor Bowser, for fighting for the residents of this city. Thank you for creating the LEAP Academy. And I now present to you our mayor, Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Well, hello, everybody. Please, thank you. Let's hear for our LEAPer. Thank you, and thank you all for being here. It is so wonderful to meet again on our 2-year anniversary. Give yourselves a round of applause. I want to thank our friends at Gallaudet University who have been so generous to us in opening up the beautiful university here for all of our events. Let's give the people of Gallaudet our appreciation. And I also want to say that we've themed tonight, and I think this is something we can have our interpreter help us all learn. We've themed tonight DC values. So D, C, values. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. D, C, values. It's been 2 years since we started this journey together, and you've heard some wonderful examples about how important it is for us to stay focused on building pathways to the middle class for DC residents. I tell people all the time it's the great privilege of my life to get to be mayor of my hometown. And the oath I swore was that I would wake up each and every day focused on how to make the lives of DC residents better. I can't believe that 2 years has gone this fast, but we know that time flies when you're working hard and delivering on your promises. And that's what we have to keep doing together. So I'm glad to see so many here tonight because you made a big commitment to us as well. Last year I talked to you about how we had the shortest transition of any DC mayor in the history of the District of Columbia, 54 days. We met here probably 54 days out already with a transition plan with 300 Washingtonians that represented all 8 wards of the District of Columbia, every background and belief, every type of experience. And we came together to say we would build a government and we would build focus initiatives on which we all could be proud. And I'm very proud to say that we also made the commitment to hold ourselves accountable to all of those promises. So last year we were here talking about the initiatives that we got started, our progress with each of those initiatives, and today we're here to report back on those promises. But we have to always step back and remember why we do all of those things. That's why we're talking about DC values. Because if we woke up every day and just got pushed along in the government, and believe me, you can get just government can mosey along, but you have to be intentional about how it works. And so I always like to remind myself of the shared principles that bring us together across our city, the things that we believe. And I repeat this all the time, and I ask my agency directors to remember these things as well. We promised them then and we affirm them today that we believe in public education, right? We believe in good quality public schools. We believe in education reforms that guarantee every child a quality seat, no matter the zip code where he or she lives or their parents' tax bracket. We believe in health care for all. And part of providing high-quality health care involves giving women in Washington, D.C. the right to make choices about their own bodies and their own health. We believe in ending discrimination against LGBTQ residents and creating a level playing field for women, for African Americans, for Latinos, and for residents of every background and belief. And we believe that taxation without representation is fundamentally undemocratic, and it must end. We also know that corruption at any level in our city is unacceptable, and we will root it out wherever we find it. We believe that as we grow, we must grow responsibly. And growing responsibly means protecting our environment, finding more opportunities to create and preserve affordable housing, and not accepting homelessness as a fact of life in a big city. And we believe that the government has a duty to ensure fair and equal access and a pathway to the middle class. So last year, we got together and we figured out where we were going and where we were going to be going for the upcoming year. And we committed and affirmed those DC values. And over the past couple of months, I didn't even realize how much we would have to affirm our DC values. But I'm here to tell you, they didn't change on Election Day. They didn't. And neither did our commitment to making sure that we would stay focused on fair criminal justice reforms that keeps our city safe and strong, but also provides second chances. It didn't change on Election Day, our respect for the free exercise of religion or love. Our promises to serve all DC residents, no matter their immigration status, it didn't change on Election Day. Nor did our sure knowledge that safe and affordable housing and access to quality health care are critical building blocks on the pathway to the middle class. Our commitment to women and girls, investing in their education, health care, and in their aspirations, even for the highest office in the land, it didn't change on Election Day. But we all know, that we have to double down on those values and make sure that we are smart and strategic in protecting them all. We have a lot to be proud of in the 2 years that we've been working together. But we know, and you will look through the accountability report, you will look at your own committees and see the things that you recommended 2 years ago to see how far we've come and to see how far we have to go. But what I will do now is challenge you like you have done for me for the last couple of months in making sure that now, especially now, we're doubling down on our efforts. Here's some things we can be proud of. Crime is down in the District of Columbia. Graduation rates are up in Washington, D.C. Our population is higher than it's been in 40 years in Washington, D.C. And as you heard the Chief Financial Officer say, the success and prosperity that we see in so many ways across our city has been because of our ability to attract and retain residents across the entire city. Just earlier today, I was with Deputy Mayor Snowden, where we launched Financially Fit DC. It is a comprehensive wellness program designed to empower all DC residents. It is true that I say we can build a lot of affordable housing, but if you don't have a job, you won't be able to get it. And if you don't have good credit, you won't be able to buy it. And so that is why we're so focused on making sure more Washingtonians can take advantage of the progress we're creating. Last year, we also focused on our boys. We focused on our boys. And I will make no apologies for it. We have to invest and make the investments in the children where they need it and how they need it. And that's why we created the Ron Brown College Preparatory High School in Ward 7. And I have to tell you, if you want to see great education and education how and where the kids need it, please visit Ron Brown. We know that people are hungry for opportunity, and we want them to have it in every way. And that's why we have been so focused on transforming our workforce programs and making sure that job training is coupled with childcare and transportation so that people will have those second chances to take advantage of the prosperity in Washington. I had this idea about LEAP. You know, I run a 33,000 person government. It's a lot of people. And from time to time, there are vacancies in that government. Why can't we advantage DC residents for those vacancies? Why can't we put them first in line? Why can't we make sure they have the training they need to take advantage of those opportunities? I had an agency director say, Mayor, we haven't hired any new 911 call takers in 8 years. I said, in 8 years? How could that be? Because, you know, you see all these people we've added and all these businesses that have come. That means more calls. We haven't added anybody in 8 years? Well, she said, can I have 31 leapers? I said, absolutely. And that's why we have 31 DC residents working at our 911 call center. Our Parks and Recreation Director said, Mayor Bowser, you know, we got to professionalize the opportunities for our employees at Parks and Rec. You know, you got them running $30 million facilities, and they need the supports and training so that they can offer quality programs. So for the first time in a long time, DPR has been able to offer new management positions, a career path for DC residents. And while they're at it, they took 31 leapers to work at the front desk, and I appreciate that. Deputy Mayor Snowden said to me, not everybody wants a job. Some of them want to be able to start a business, and that's why we started Aspire. And I kind of tell you, I wasn't sure how it was going to work. I didn't know. But then I saw the early results of returning citizens who, with the right supports and able to start a business and get their business licenses and be directed to opportunities that we have in the Green Book and other opportunities, they're not only starting businesses, they're being successful in those businesses. So that's what we've been focused on. So through programs like that, we've been able to help DC residents. And I told you about the decreases in crime that we've been experiencing. And you heard from our fantastic panel that our approach has not all been law enforcement. That's good news to you, right, Chief? Although law enforcement they're going to do the job. But we want them to have fewer customers. That's our point, right? We want people to have opportunities so that they are not involved in crime. So we saw a 17% decrease in homicides last year, an 11% decrease in robberies, 15% decrease in burglaries. Yet and still, we have too many people involved in violent crime. We invited our friend Omar here, who was one such victim of violent crime. Where's Omar? Omar, it's good to see you. And we connected him. You heard about our Safer, Stronger Community Stabilization Team. And when we met Omar, after he was a victim of this crime, he and his mom were on the verge of eviction. So we know when people have safe housing, they can make a lot of good decisions. So we helped him and his mom get stable housing. But that stabilization did not end there. We connected Omar with Project Empowerment, which gives him the opportunity to get job skills and earn a position. He was working on that, and he realized he had an obstacle. A few years before that, he wanted to remember his own brother who was slain. And part of that process was to get a tattoo. And he decided to get that tattoo in his brother's honor, but he put it on his face. And he learned that was preventing him from moving on and getting gainful employment. So we worked community stabilization to help Omar find a solution, and we have connected him with the Invisible Hands Foundation. And slowly but surely, they're going to work with him to make sure that he can remember his brother, but remove those tattoos from his face. And we know that's going to help you on your pathway to the middle class. So you heard the earlier panel talk about a dip in unemployment of 1.4%, which is significant, and it is especially significant in wards 7 and 8. But it's not, we haven't done enough to really pat ourselves on the back until we can eliminate this statistic. And that is in Ward 8, that's 13% unemployment. In Ward 3 is 3.8% unemployment. So you can see the great disparity across our city. And as long as we have that kind of employment and income disparity, we will see other disparities play out in our schools and in our criminal justice system. So that's why the programs we're talking about are so very important. And one of the favorite things that we've done, you heard the Deputy Mayor for Education said that she wants kids to be able to go to school longer during the day or longer during the year. And I thought to myself, I like them to go to school all year. All year school would be great. You don't think so? I like it. So we've started with 20 additional days. And we have 10 schools last year that the children have 20 additional days of instruction and learning. You also heard the Deputy Mayor talk about how important it was to increase the minimum wage in our city. Not easy, but necessary. I believe when people have a decent and good paying job, they can take care of so many other things in their lives. And I want to thank the members of the council who really stepped up quickly, and Special Advisor, Senior Advisor Perry and her team got that piece of legislation through the council in a record amount of time, about 4 months, because it was so important to DC residents. And we also have been focused on how we create jobs. Brian is right. That is a big part of his work. And when we talk about economic development projects, sometimes it can be reduced to talking about cranes, right? How many times have you heard that? How many cranes do we have? And I don't talk about cranes, I talk about the people who will be employed or who will be able to live at those projects. And while it is true, we have more cranes than any city on the eastern seaboard up in the air, that is true. What that represents is so much more important. It represents the opportunity for DC residents to get skills and jobs, and for us to create new revenue that we can invest in the human services and education. So I want to thank our whole big deal team at DMPED for creating jobs for DC residents. Let me also thank Mr. Mason and all of the staff and faculty at our university, the University of the District of Columbia. And this year, President Mason came up with a program where DC public school students from DCPS and our public charter schools, the salutatorians and valedictorians can go to UDC on a free ride. And we want to thank him for coming up with that. So let me move a little bit more quickly. We are focused on the United Medical Center, making sure we have quality health care east of the river. And we have some work to do, but we're focusing on getting it done. You heard about the $100 million every year that we're putting into the Housing Production Trust Fund, which will create the most units that we've ever created in the District of Columbia. You heard Mark talk earlier about our partnership with Attorney General Racine and the U.S. Attorney. That will give us more lawyers over at the U.S. Attorney's Office. While we don't have the responsibility yet of prosecuting our own crimes, we want to make sure that they have the resources that they need. And just last week, I signed a piece of legislation into law that made sure that if you have a GPS, because you got to come home early, that you actually wear the GPS, you don't tamper with the GPS, and you comply with your monitoring. And we know that that will keep DC safer too. So we're here just to make a mid-point check-in, halfway through our first term, and very importantly, focused on the next 2 years. We have an awesome opportunity to work with the new council and their legislative period, and we have, as Ms. Perry says, the awesome opportunity to work with a very different Congress and a very different White House. I'm proud of the things that we have been able to get accomplished locally. We've already talked about having the most robust body-worn camera program in the nation, raising the wage for our citizens, adding ambulances in our city when we hadn't done it for many years. And what I am most proud of is being able to attract an amazing, competent, and inspiring cabinet. And I just think they have been fantastic to work with. They come up with fresh ideas, they're responsive, and they help me get the job done each and every day. Thank you, members of the cabinet. So let me just say a couple of things about my meeting with the president-elect. It is true, we're Washington, right? And we will put our best foot forward in the smooth transition of power that we're privileged to host every 4 years. But let's be clear, this one is a little bit different. What I wanted to let President-elect know is who we are as Washingtonians and what exactly we are about. I wanted him to know, first and foremost, that we're independent, we're effective, self-sufficient, and the best thing the federal government can do for us is leave us alone. I wanted him to know that we balanced 21 consecutive budgets. We have a healthy cash reserve. Almost 1,000 people choose to live here each month. And we are safer than we've been in 30 years. I wanted him to know that we have accomplished all this with relatively little reliance on this federal government. We pay more taxes than 22 states, more per capita than all of them. We receive less back in federal spending than 14 states. And that's not accounting for the hundreds of millions of dollars that we spend every day supporting federal workers, Maryland and Virginia residents who work here and take their money back to Maryland and Virginia. So we made our case, and we're going to do the same thing on Capitol Hill. And we will continue to remain respectful and vigilant, but we will defend our values and we will advance our priorities. But I'm going to need your help. We made two important announcements today that relate to how we defend and protect our values. For example, I'm announcing a new way that we will be working to support the community, specifically our residents who have a heightened anxiety around their immigration status. So today, as I promised, we're acting on our word to protect our families. And I am creating the Immigrant Justice Legal Services Grant Program. So this fund will provide legal representation for DC's immigrant population. Lawyers, we know, have a special role to play in times like these. We know that people who are represented by lawyers are much less likely to be deported and much more likely to prevail when they apply for asylum. So we expect the new program to generate more people raising their hands to become citizens, more people working legally with green cards, and more families reunited, more successful asylum applications, and more people knowledgeable about their rights, because these are DC values. I'm also very proud to announce a program that my legal team is going to be working on in the coming weeks. And it's been written in a series of newspaper articles. They called us a second chance city. And I think it was meant to be an insult. But I said, well, I believe in second chances. And those are DC values too. So in addition, today we are announcing a program that will allow people who have been convicted of a drug crime and who have lost their driver's license because of an old law that said if you were convicted of a drug offense, you would lose your driver's license as a form of punishment. Well, we believe once you've served your time, you should be able to apply for your driver's license so you can go to work. And you can work your way back to your family, because these are our values. So while we have a lot to be proud of, we have also outlined all the work that we have to do. I wake up just as energized to get that work done and very proud when I look across all of the agencies of our government that we've done what we said we would do. And that is the definition of integrity. Did she say she was going to do it? Did she do it? And if she can't do it, she'll tell you why. Or more likely just ask you for some help to get it done. So I want to thank you for all of your help, your questions, your volunteering, and your leading in the community. And we know that the best is yet to come. God bless you all, and I'll see you out there for our huddles.